Welcome to July. This is your July reading, tarot reading on Starchaeology Tarot. I am Desi. I am your Starchaeologist. It is an honor and a privilege to be giving you your July reading. Aries, what's up with you guys? I'm gonna connect with Spirit and figure out what is the message that you most need to hear right now in July. Some of this will resonate with some of you, some of it will not resonate with some of you. That is normal. You are all Aries, but you're still also individuals, and you have a whole other, you have a whole special astrological chart full of the nuances that create you, so please keep that in mind. Also encourage you to watch, this is good for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I encourage you to watch those placements for you as well, and feel free to cross watch for a loved one if you're curious what July is looking like for them / what they are dealing with right now. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope that this reading is coming at a time when you need it most. Let's get shuffling. If you have a specific intention that you want to set as I shuffle, please take the time to do that now. A specific question that you want to ask. You'll know the things that come up in the reading that are responding directly to that question, to that inquiry, to that intention that you're asking / setting right now. Let's go. Aries, what an interesting time this is for you. This month, July, is really about some sort of project, something that you have felt that you had to do in order to survive. Maybe, I know that sounds dramatic, but something that you feel like you've had to do, business that you've had to take care of in order to live. In order to make sure that basic needs are being met. That is coming to a full end right now. This is the end of that chapter, of filling that need, of doing something that makes it so that you feel secure in your place in the world. And this is very big. This is a very, very big ending. This thing had a whole life of its own, and now that life is coming to a close. It's time for it to come full circle, and with it, you're seeing things about it now with a perspective that you didn't have before. So maybe you went into it thinking, oh, this is what I'm gonna get out of this, or I need to do this because of this. And now that it's coming full circle, you're seeing the duality in it. You're seeing, oh, I thought it was about this, and it is, but it's also about this other thing that feels completely unexpected and maybe very, very opposite to what you thought initially. There's a sort of balancing out with whatever this task, this action, this thing that is either related to your job or your finances or your home life. It's something that has to do with how you exist in the tangible world, and really, I think how you also take care of that world. It's an action, because this is a Knight card, so it is some sort of action that you have taken in the realm of Pentacles, the suit of Earth. Some action that you have taken that has made you feel dependable on yourself, or made others feel dependable, or have made others feel like you're dependable, like you can be depended upon, or reliable. It's like setting a foundation. It's this action that has set some sort of foundation for you and set you up for security, or set your family up for security, or even set someone else up for security. But there's been a lot of like rational thought and planning and just conscious logical action that has gone into this. The Knight of Pentacles is the only knight that is at a complete standstill. We don't see that knight racing through the wilderness on their quest. We see them at a complete standstill because this hasn't been a race. This has been, or it hasn't been a sprint, rather. It's been a marathon. And you have had your eyes on the prize over this very long period of time. You've done so much thinking and careful planning ahead to bring you to this point where you can bring this action to completion. And that's finally has the potential to happen now in July, for this action to come full circle and have this completion. But it is an opportunity to have a sort of enlightenment, a sort of revelation that's so much bigger than just this being the completion of some earthly matter that you thought it was, some investment opportunity or something that you've just like, this is going to set me up for security. This is just a thing that I have to do. It's a box I have to check. You're realizing that this has actually been so much bigger than just a box that you had to check. You're realizing the emotional implications, the psychological implications, the spiritual implications of it, and how you getting through this thing has brought you to this deeper place of understanding of yourself, of your place in the world, and of your path forward. You're able to dance in this now. The world card is really about being able to flow and dance with life. It's incorporating both the masculine and feminine sides of life, and really mastering not only the conscious and conscious control of our world, but the subconscious and the superconscious, right? The spiritual subtext of everything that we do. And this has really deepened that for you. It's in the process of deepening it. As this is coming to a close, as this karmic cycle is ending, you're learning this. You might be finding that by completing this simple action, you are learning, it's like this huge lesson for you on a soul level is clicking in finally. It's finally like a light bulb moment where you're like, oh, I can graduate beyond this earthly lesson now. I've learned what I have to learn on the conscious level. It's seeped down into my subconscious and it's affecting me on a super conscious level. This is something deeper than just raising enough money for XYZ, or buying a house, or sorting out some sort of negotiation or thing that seems very just straightforward, and again kind of superficial in the way that it's just like, this is just an earthly matter, it's just a box to check off. You're seeing that that box is actually symbolic of something much deeper and much greater, and it's bringing a pattern it's bringing a pattern to a close for you. A pattern where the universe has presented you with opportunity after opportunity to learn this lesson. It's like this lesson can finally be completed for you with the ending of this action. And it's huge. I think you don't even quite understand the full scope of that yet, and what that means for you. The reason why I say that this is as big as it is because here in the outcome of this, the outcome position, we have the Fool paired with the Hanged One. And both of these cards have an element to them of just letting go, and while the Fool is all about taking a risk, doing what you feel called to do despite the fear of people calling you foolish, or calling your actions foolish, for taking that risk, for being optimistic, for going after, for going into the unknown, for stepping off the cliff. The Hanged One is similar to that, in that it's a letting go and a surrender, again, to really not caring what other people think of you. And this time it isn't about action. While this is very much about action and others judging you based on that action, this is very much about others judging you based on what's happening inside you, internally. Something you are doing is reflecting what your inner values are, what your inner beliefs are, what you feel deep down. And it's like, though you're not really taking any bold action, you're not really doing something that's like, some grand gesture, you are making your insides known to the outside world. And there is a letting go and a surrender in that, because what you need to let go is the fear that other people will call you and your beliefs upside down, judge you, say you're completely upside down, you're wrong side up, the way that you see the world or your perspective on this, or what's happening inside for you is completely upside down. And this is about being loyal to yourself. And isn't this beautiful? It's the action that you take, the outside action, being married and aligned with what you are feeling on the inside, being who you really are, being your authentic self, letting your actions mirror that authentic self. You're not apologizing for who you are or for what you are doing. And you know that there are always going to be people who call you a fool, or say that you're upside down, say that you're, wacky or crazy for even doing what you're doing, or crazy for believing what you're believing or what you're saying. But this is a real time to just shed attachment to judgment, to the validation of others. Like, you don't need that validation from anyone else to be who you are. You don't need permission from anyone else to be the way that you are, or to do what you feel called to do. And this is a risk. There is a risk in surrendering that. There is a risk in letting go. And I sense for some of you that there's real fear of what the implications are of that. Because this is such a solo journey that's happening here for you. This is such an internal journey that's happening. And I sense that some of you are afraid of what that means for your relationship with others, or your place in the world. And that's where that surrender and trust in letting go is so crucial. Because the Hanged One signifies real enlightenment in that. There's enlightenment in the letting go of that. And there's also a faith. It's enlightenment going hand in hand with the faith of the Fool card, of just knowing. You don't know how it's going to look, but you can trust that a net is going to be there to catch you. And that you can never go wrong by being true to your authentic self. You can never go wrong, even if what you are doing is wrong in the eyes of society. Even if you get to a point later in life where you look back on yourself and you say, oh, that was wrong, and I'm in a different place now where I can see what I did now is wrong. Still, doing this, having this experience, is so crucial for you to get to that place of evolution, to grow to that place where you will be in the future, whether what you are doing right now is right or wrong. And I put those in quotes because everything that's wrong is also right. Everything we do that is wrong was crucial in order to get to a place where we're able to see what is right and wrong. Your path is your path. And for some of us that involve, I think for all of us, different points in our life, that involves doing things that are wrong in these eyes of others that we know are actually right for ourselves, and we end up like feeling very validated in that we trusted ourselves and we were like, I turned out to be right. And same breath, we have those moments where we do things that others are condemning or say are wrong, but we have to do them in order to realize that they are correct about it, to realize, oh, they were right, I was wrong. And I would have never gotten this perspective. I would have never gotten to this place of growth without having experienced it myself. So, which makes either direction or either possibility ultimately right. So there is risk, no doubt, but there is such great reward in this risk for you. And I do think that this thing that is coming to completion is allowing you, it's almost like the distraction of this is going away. The distraction of like, oh, I gotta check this box off. I gotta make sure that I'm in a place of security where I can handle this. That's going away. That's going away so that you can now be more concerned with the full picture. You can now be more concerned with everything below the conscious level, the subconscious, the superconscious, and you can be really dealing with these huge themes. We got 2 major arcana cards here, along with the world. So these are very big thematic like milestones in your life, big things that big lessons that you're dealing with here. And to have these 2 paired together, it's like coming through this action, this lesson, that's this earthly matter that is coming to completion. It's coming to completion so that you can open the door into this much deeper lesson, this much more important thing to consume your time and your energy. And of course, this was crucial. It was crucial for you to have this, to go through this, to bring you to the cusp of this, to bring you to this point where you can afford to really go deep. You can afford to allow yourself to be tested here, to allow yourself to have this, to face this opportunity and say, am I going to continue micromanaging this, this spiritual journey for me? Am I going to try to apply the rules of the world, the rules of pentacles, to this as well? Or am I going to surrender and let go to the unknown journey of this? Recognize it as something new and see, knowing that I have mastered this in some way, you know, I'm about to become a beginner again in this next chapter of my life. I'm about to become a student again in learning about this next thing. And this next thing is you. It is a deepening of you. It is an enlightenment. It's a self-expansion that is really coming from a kind of isolation, I think. Both the Fool and the Hanged One are solitary cards, meaning that they depict someone in solitude. You know, the Fool is turning their back on society and entering into the unknown on this individual adventure and taking this risk, and is completely optimistic about it, to the point that some might call the Fool naive or foolish in doing this. And the Hanged One is in equal solitude, in that, again, also turning their back on convention and saying, I am taking the risk, I am surrendering myself to this process that lies before me, in hopes that forcing myself to hang here, to see the world from a different perspective, will broaden my understanding of the world, deepen my understanding of my life and my situation. There is a real surrender in both of these cards, and this one is so full of action and this one is full of passivity. So there's a real balance that's happening with you right now, between action and passivity, between these masculine and feminine components, right? Which really feeds into the World card again. This is a balancing and a harmonizing of these masculine and feminine components of you and of your journey. The balance between taking action, well, really the balance between introspection and passively working on yourself inside yourself. Using stillness as an opportunity to go deep and do real soul searching, and then marrying that with the action that you take within the world's limits. Seeing how a broadened sense of self broadens your physical world. There is a fly in here, sorry about that. But what I just said was, I feel like that's flashing right now. A broadened sense of self is what allows you to experience a broadened physical world. And that is what's happening for you this month. If you're able to let this thing come to completion and graduate onto the next karmic lesson that is meant for you. So the question here is, what do you need to focus on in order to allow this to happen? And I say allow because, again, this is a surrender. This is an allowing of this project to finish. Wow, I'm hearing for some of you, you have the opportunity to keep working on this. You have the opportunity to keep pouring yourself and distracting yourself with the tasks, the very worldly tasks of this. You can turn this into a project that lasts years longer, months, years longer, if you want to. Or you can let it end here, because it feels like it's reaching its natural ending. But I think some of you might be even resisting that, because this has become something that you are conditioned to. This is a way of life that you've become accustomed to, conditioned to, and you might even be resisting its ending because of the fear of what comes next. And you know that what comes next is something much deeper and much rewarding and much more life-changing than anything this could have actually offered. So there is a natural resistance, of course, to the things that are going to revolutionize us the most. Even if it's a positive change, we resist those changes that are the most, often the most beneficial for us, because they're often the most earth-shattering to our very cores. And that's scary. Just change is scary. What was I saying? So how do we let that happen? How do we let that surrender happen? How do you surrender and let go into the ending of this? You do that with these guys. We have the Two of Pentacles plus the Page of Wands. You're being faced with a very obvious decision, a very obvious negotiation. And again, this is Pentacles, so no doubt it is related to this Pentacles, this Knight of Pentacles journey, quest that you've been on, this action that you have been, this marathon that you've been running. And the choice that you have, I started talking about it before I even picked up this card, but I think the choice that you have is to continue the marathon, to make the marathon longer than it even needs to be, because you are accustomed to the checking of boxes. Or to choose something else, that is going to break you out of this rat race, because that's really what it is. It's semantics. It's the semantics of living. It's mastering things in our physical world will only get us so far. It's a mastering of the conscious, right? And that's the top level of what we're really here to do. You can feel like you have gotten everything in control in your life, in the very physical, like on paper ways of having everything in control. Does that really mean that you have learned what you need to learn here because you are physically successful by society's definition? No. There's so much deeper in our subconscious and then in the superconscious that we deprive ourselves of if we continue just focusing on the rat race. If we continue and kind of like absorb, just distract ourselves and become completely absorbed in checking the boxes of that rat race, of just running the marathon and getting better at running that marathon instead of running off course and seeing what's beyond the racetrack. This is a time where you are running off course. You have the opportunity, you have the choice to run off course. And with this negotiation, with this decision, don't be fooled into thinking it is just another decision like any other of these Pentacles decisions that you've made. And by Pentacles decisions, I mean these decisions that are really just decisions about living in the conscious world, living in this physical plane. You know, this decision bears much greater consequences, much deeper consequences. And it has the opportunity to break you out of a pattern. It has the opportunity to end a pattern for you, to let this pattern come to the end of its karmic cycle. And when you are faced with this decision, which I think is just going to look very different for many of you, you know, depending on what this Knight of Pentacles situation is for you, what this project is, what this rat race is, what this marathon is that you've been running and that you're coming to completion with. This decision is going to look different from all of you, for all of you. But your guiding compass in how you decide this is where we get into Wands here. Page of Wands. It is the way that you decide this, the way that you discern your path forward, the way you weigh these options and know which is the right option to take, is by asking yourself, what am I living for? What am I on earth to do? Wands is fire energy. That is our life force, our vitality. It's what creates the spark of an idea, the spark of inspiration. It's what, when we look at someone and we feel like they are possessed by something greater than themselves, that they are living for, we see them as like a fire being lit in that person. And versus someone who is just going through the motions of day-to-day living, we look at that person and we say their fire has gone out, right? It's still living, but it's not really living with the life force, with spirit, our spirit, the human spirit that that animates us more than anything else in life. It is soul purpose, and how we connect with that soul purpose is by following desire. Desire is fire, and we're able to, sometimes when we feel overwhelmed, like, what is my path? What are my steps forward? The best way to find out just what the next logical step to take is by looking at what we want, what we feel we want. And some of us are so even disconnected from what we want because we are culturally conditioned often to doubt our own desires, to question them constantly, to immediately censor them and limit ourselves before we even really consider them, or say that's not possible, right? That dream is not possible. That dream's not meant for me. That's only for special people. It's not for me. You, Aries, there is something here that you are about to get an education in following your dreams. And I think that is very, very, very related to the risk-taking here, to the, turning your back on others' opinions of you, others' opinions of what you want, your waiting, your needing of others' validations to legitimize your action and your beliefs. That is the potential to go out the window right now. And this is all related to getting in touch with the thing that lights you up, and becoming a student again in, you know, this is a page energy. This is becoming a beginner, a student, getting a full education in going after the thing that you want, not going after the thing you feel you need. Because that's the difference between Knight of Pentacles and Knight of Wands. And this is, the page comes right before the Knight of Wands. You've been the Knight of Pentacles. You've been the dependable one, the reliable one. You've checked the boxes. Have you ever recklessly gone after, though, the thing that is calling to your soul? Have you done that yet? And if you've done it before, maybe you've done it before, but maybe there's still something else that you're like, I have to do that for this too, and I've been resisting that because it's scary. There are times when being reckless, when being foolish serves us. Every risk, by definition, is foolish, is reckless. That's why it's called a risk. And yet, people take risks all the time. We know very well that there is that great reward can come with risk. It's not a reason, just because something is a risk is not a reason to not do it. And this is, you are about to enter this true education this month of getting in touch with the things that you want, of your greatest desires, and the things that light you up and make you feel like, this is what I am living for. This is what I'm here to do. And allowing that to be your compass and to be your decision maker moving forward. Aries, this is very exciting for you, and I would love to hear in the comments about what this specific event is for you, or what this marathon is that's coming to an end for you, what this rat race that you've been in has been about, and also what it is. What is this Page of Wands? As the Page of Wands here, what is the thing that you are that is lighting you up, that is calling to you, that will help you be a decision maker in your month moving forward? That is the thing that should be making your decisions for you, and I'd love to hear more about how that's manifesting in the details of your specific life. So please feel free to leave a comment in the comments. I hope this was helpful. Please like and subscribe this video. If you dug it, share it with other people. Guys, that's why I'm doing this, and I love to connect with all of you. And I hope you're staying healthy and safe, and honestly, I love you. So goodbye.